This is how you can create and sell your own online course in 2024. While it may seem really daunting and an impossible task, creating your own online course is actually quite a simple process. So what I wanted to do in this video, I wanted to break down the 4 exact steps that you need to follow in order to create your own course. Now, as we go through this video, if you miss any of these steps, please don't worry, because what I want to do right now is if you follow that link in the description below, you can get access to my course creation checklist. And this is a list of all of the tasks that you need to complete in order to not only create, but record and launch and then obviously sell your first course. And all of the steps that I'm taking you through is what I've done in my own business. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Aaron Young from 7-Figure Coaching. And my story is that over the last 2 years, I've transformed from being an overworked freelancer to creating my own 7-figure brand. And the way that I did this was through course creation. And right now, let's get into the teaching so I can take you through this process so you can create your own online courses. Now, right at the start, the 4 steps that I'm going to be taking you through is firstly, I'm going to take you through how to create your course. Secondly, we'll go through recording your course. Thirdly, how to upload your course. And then finally, how you go about actually selling your course. Because the whole reason that we create a course is that we want to be able to actually sell that to people. And it all starts with the most important part, which is the course creation. Because your whole business will fall down if you don't have a high quality practical course. And the goal with your course is that it needs to be able to practically take people through a step-by-step process so that they can not only learn, but implement what you're teaching them in your course. And the hardest thing about creating a course is what I found is actually what to leave out, because it is a fine balance between you don't want to overload people and you want to give them the most important pieces of information so that they can go through the step-by-step process. Now, I've gone through and created 5 different courses, and the easiest way that I've found to do this is that I find that you just start with a simple Word document, and what you want to be doing is you want to be planning out your different modules and individual lessons. Now, what we're looking at here is modules are your core elements of learning, and then your lessons are the individual lessons underneath those larger learning topics. And so that you don't get confused, let me show you exactly what I mean and how I go about completing this. So to do that, let's jump into a quick screen share. Now, when you're all done, this is eventually what your course will look like. You'll have your different modules and you'll have your different lessons. But the way that I start with this is, as I said, I start in a Google Doc, and what I start doing is I just start typing in some different things. This is the outline that I used for my course for this brand, which is called 7-Figure Course Creator. So I just went through and listed everything that I needed to teach. So I would then, I'd write down planning and creating your first course, growing your audience. I'd talk through their different website and social platforms. I also went that I did want to focus on YouTube. I also wanted to take them through the sales process, the different products they would need, and some different systems. But then what I did from there is once I had out those core different modules, I then came back and added in some extra bullet points, and I was just basically writing down all of the different elements that I would need to teach. And then from there, once I had that Google Doc or the Word doc or notes document, whatever you wanted to do, I would then come through and I would build out my individual lessons. And as you can see in here, this is just a simple PowerPoint presentation where I take the core notes from my Google Doc and I would then build out my different lessons. So the easiest way that I found in order to create your course is to first use a Google Doc or a Pages or a Word document and just have some different bullet points. In general, what I do, that takes me about a day, where I just basically in the morning, I put together all the different main bullet points, and then I really structure out the different modules that I want to include in my course. And then in the afternoon, I come back and then I fill out some extra subpoints. Then I build out the extra topics that I want to have in each of my different lessons. And then I use those dot points to then go through and create my PowerPoints. And that's when you then add in the extra information, put in some different graphs, some different screens, and really flesh out your teaching. So what I really want to stress there, and you saw how my finished product looked, is that it doesn't need to be a Hollywood style movie. It can just be a really simple PowerPoint presentation with the focus being on practical steps. Remembering that a successful course is one that is able to practically teach people how you do what you're teaching them. That's why I've always found that the best-selling courses are just PowerPoint presentations that have really powerful practical teaching. So my biggest recommendation is to focus on the quality of the teaching rather than having over-edited masterpieces. And let me just give you a real example. I've bought a couple of courses, and the courses that I've always always found highly valuable are the ones that were just that PowerPoint presentation rather than big edits and jump cuts and all of those different things, because remembering that people just want to focus on the learning rather than you amazing them with your editing skills. And then what I would also say is once you've got your PowerPoint presentation completed is that I've always given this to family or friends, and I want them to go through their PowerPoints and I'm asking them questions like, does this make sense to you? Or are there any parts of this that I've missed? And the reason why I do this with family or friends is because they will generally know what you're involved in or what you're wanting to teach, but they may not know the full ins and outs. So if you can create your course that makes sense to them, you then know that you're well along the path of being able to have a course that a beginner can pick up and implement the step-by-step teaching that you're taking them through. So now that you've got your course ready to go, it then comes to the next step of you need to record your course. Now, I will admit that this is probably the biggest barrier that people have, in that they're so worried about, they don't know how to record a course, or they may be worried about actually doing the recording. But the great news is that with online courses, all of my online courses have very little video element. And what I mean by video element of me talking in front of a camera. Most of the content in my courses is me speaking over the top of a PowerPoint presentation. Now, the reason for why I did it that way is because, as the example I gave before, when I bought some different courses, they were the ones that I found more engaging. I wasn't looking at different edits or different pop-ups. It was just really, really practical teaching with a good PowerPoint and straightforward laid out content. So what you want to do when you're doing the recording is you want to create an environment where it's easy for someone to follow. So the most important thing that you really do need is good quality audio. And to get this, all you need is a USB microphone. Now, it doesn't need to be a super expensive microphone. The first microphone that I recorded my first 3 courses on, which are still high selling courses, was a Blue Yeti microphone, which only cost me about $100. I've since now upgraded to a Rode microphone, but it's still under $200, and it's this one here. And then once you have that USB microphone, you can just use your computer's inbuilt system. So for me, I still record all of my audio into GarageBand, and I'm sure Microsoft has an equivalent. And then you can just use Loom or QuickTime Player in order to capture a screen share. So when you've got your PowerPoint presentation together, you're setting up a screen share, and then as you go through each page, you're just talking over and giving the practical teaching. And the great thing about PowerPoint is that you can even add in your presenter notes so that you've got it all pre-queued there, ready to go, so you know what you're saying. Now, the other thing that I would say too is the great safeguard with recording a course is remember that you can do some editing after. So don't think that you've got to get a whole lesson done in one take. So when you're recording, and if you make some mistakes, or if you say or ah, or have a long break, just keep going, because what you can do is when you come into the editing part, you can then remove those mistakes and remove all those pesky ums and ahs and long pauses. And for the video editing, if you don't have an editor, you could do that in a free version of Adobe or with your computer's built-in video software like iMovie. So now that you've created your course and you've also got a completed edited course ready to go, it's just a process of uploading that course to the platform. Nowadays, there are so many different options for hosting your course. Personally, I use Kajabi, and I don't want to get caught into which platform you should be using. Essentially, what you're doing here is you need to choose a platform which can host your course. So what's happening here is this is the interface where you point people to so that they can then go through and buy your course, and then they can get access, and then they get access to all of your different lessons and your video files. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to jump into another screen share so I can just show you some different tips and some things that I've found that when you are creating your course that makes it much easier for your students. But if you do use Kajabi, I do have some step-by-step teaching guides, and it's part of my program called Kajabi Kickstarter. And if you're interested, just follow that link in the description below and you'll get more details there. Now, when it comes to actually putting your course together, so as I said, this is the Kajabi platform that I use, that I've put my course together in. And you can see as I go through and build out this course, I can go through and add in extra lessons. But what I do recommend is that when I'm in all of these individual lessons, I also include the download of my PowerPoint. I just find this is a really great thing that my students have loved, it in that they can download the teaching slides as I go through them. And then what I've also found is helpful as well is to actually include a video welcome. Now, what this video welcome does is that this video welcome is me just giving a bit of a background of the course, why I've created it. And then what I would also recommend that you do as well is that you do give, and you can see in this section, I actually give a bit of a tour of the course, how it looks and where they can find all of the information. And then the other thing that I do recommend is that you also give them an area where they can contact you so they can reach out if they do have any issues or questions. So now you've not only written your course, but you've also created it, and you've also done all the recording, and you've uploaded it into your course creation platform of choice. now becomes the all-important step of selling your course. And now, because this is such a big topic in itself, what I want you to do is I want you to go through and watch this video here, which will take you through the exact step-by-step process that I use in order to sell my courses. Thank you for joining me. My name is Aaron Young from 7 Figure Coaching, and I look forward to seeing you in this video right now.